Hello and welcome to this YSI resource video in which we will be learning about how you can get your YSI story into the press. So the press, or also known as the news media, can be local, regional or national, and it includes printed newspapers, news websites and apps, local radio stations, as well as, you guessed it, television. So if you're working on a social innovation project and you're trying to bring about positive change and you have a brilliant story to tell and you want to share it with the public, the press is the best way to do that without a doubt. So without further ado, let's get talking to an expert who can help us figure out how, in the name of sanity, we can get our story out there. So here I am with the incredible Zara King. Zara, how are you doing?
I'm good, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing very well. If we are a young social innovator, we have a project in mind, we know what change we want to make, but we're not exactly sure how to get our message out there yet. What do you think is perhaps the most accessible form of media for us to get involved in, and also the most effective form of media for us to get involved in?
Well, I suppose first of all, every YSI project that I've come across has a news hook in it somewhere, because they're working on a subject matter. There's a topic that they're becoming experts on, that they're researching, that they're really giving a lot of background to. The first port of call that I would say is your local media, working with your local radio station, working with your local newspaper, and pitching your story idea to them. Also crucially as well, I think it's probably an obvious shout, but social media is a huge part of that as well, like building a following within your own immediate community. So even if that means only 50% of your school follows, at least if there's 800 kids in your school, you've got 400 followers.
I guess the next question with that, if we're talking in terms of like formal media, what would be the difference between a pitch and a press release?
Okay, so a press release is basically, it's a document, it has a headline on it, it has some background. It's the who, what, where, when, why, and how of what you're doing. Like, one of the things I always say about press releases is like, they need to have a catchy top line. Just being honest, like, news desks get in press releases every day. So, you know, if something is kind of a really long sentence and it's clunky and it's like, you're like, oh, skip, like, you know what I mean? You're going to keep going through the inbox. There's just so much stuff coming in. It's being really clear, not too long as well. So covering the who, what, where, when, and why, 3 or 4 paragraphs, I think, as well. Why say something in 30 words if you could say it in 5?
Yes.
Like, that's the crux of a good press release. At the end of your press release, you need to have, for further inquiries, please contact, a name and a mobile number.
There you go.
There needs to be somebody designated to answer that mobile if you get a phone call.
Yes.
Because I guarantee you, and this is a top tip, they will only call you once, and if you don't answer, they will not call you back. You can assign someone in the group to be the press officer. Maybe you should have someone on your team who's the press officer, and that person is name and mobile number, and they become the designated press officer for the project, with name and mobile number. And you can put in, I also would put in, if you have a decent social media, put that at the bottom. So like resources where they can kind of have a quick little nosy at your social media before they call you, because like people want to do a bit of research before they call you and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So afford them the opportunity to stalk your project before they call you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a very good point, because that's what they want. They want to see truth to what you're saying as well, and if your social media reflects that passion that you're presenting in that pitch, that's only going to make it more enticing for them to give you a ring. Absolutely.
Then I would say, after you send a press release, follow up with a phone call. I find as a journalist, if somebody phones me, like, I'm way more inclined to remember their story because they've phoned me about it, and I'm probably more likely to pitch it to my boss, to my editor, if I've gotten a call on it. Now, you don't have to follow up the call, by the way, on the same day, because sometimes that can be annoying. Give them a chance to read it. 24-hour follow-up is totally acceptable. If you then start with getting coverage locally and then it does quite well locally, you then have the power to use that, either that link to that article or that podcast of that recording, and that powers on your pitch to national media.
If someone is looking to send out a press release, let's say to I don't know, like the likes of the Irish Times, for example, where might they be able to find actual contact details, or how might they also know, you know, who is the right writer for them to reach out to?
Yeah, really good question. I think, like, if you have a press release and it's a strong press release, like I say, it's a recapping, you've got your who, what, where, when, why, how, your like 3 paragraph, 4 maximum, you've got your contact details on the bottom, you've got a catchy top line, and you've all that boxed off. How do you send it? So every single organization has a website. You go to the contact section of that website and they'll have all the contact details. Now, some places will have like info@irishtimes.com.
Yes.
Don't send it to that email address. It's never going to get read by anybody. Don't waste your time. But look, you will find email addresses on most organizations' websites, so they are pretty accessible. They are pretty available.
Yeah.
The other side of it as well is that I think contacting journalists directly is actually quite a good idea, because you're appealing to that person individually and you're asking them to consider your project for a story, and at the end of the day they're going to be the one who's going to write it, or broadcast it or whatever. So yes, you can contact them directly. Yes, you can absolutely message a journalist on social media. There's no problem with that. What I would say about that though is if you're going to send a message to a journalist on social media, have your press release good to go. Keep the message short. Don't send the press release in the message.
Yeah.
DMs, you have to remember the size of the screen. If you get a DM that's 300 words, you're not reading it. So you need to send a DM which says, I'm 16, I'm developing an app, I think you'd be interested in talking to me about it. Could I send you an email about this? What's the best address to get you on? Assume the yes as well. Don't be afraid to kind of assume the yes on these things. You can say, can I send you an email? Then the next message is, what's the best address to get you on? If they don't want to reply to you, they just won't reply to you. Whereas if they're remotely interested, they'll text you back their number. Do you know what I mean? So,
yes.
These are things that you have to be a little bit a little bit sassy about, but that's okay too.
I was actually making a documentary on Generation Z a few years ago, and what I did when trying to interview journalists about the topic was I simply looked up Generation Z articles, and I went to the news article on Google, scrolled down, and I just found these articles. I said, this is in line with what I want to share. This is in line with the story that I'm trying to tell here. And so I found the journalist's name, then I found their Twitter, and in their Twitter bio was their email, and you just emailed them that way, and they replied to you instantly. So I think directly to journalists as well is really, really impactful, as you've described to us already. And if you find a phone number, having the courage to give them a ring is also going to have a huge impact, as they can see just how outgoing you really are. Woo! Okay, what an interview! That was packed. There was a lot in there, so let's break it down here. Let's summarize. Number 1, start by making a social media account for your YSI project. And a very easy way to gain followers in this account is by asking people in your school to follow you. 2, pitch your story to a local newspaper or to a local radio station. And after that, you can start working your way towards the national media outlets. So to find the right contact details, you're going to want to head to the website of your local newspaper or local radio station, and there you will find the details that you're looking for. But make sure you avoid info@email addresses, because as Zara said, you're probably not going to get a response. If you can't find the specific contact detail that you're looking for on the website of your local media outlet, that's totally fine, as long as you have the name of the specific journalist that you're looking for. Head on to Instagram or Twitter, look them up, and then send them a DM. For example, hi there, I'm 17 and I'm working on a really interesting project about XYZ. Can I send you an email with more information? What's the best email to catch you on? And hopefully they'll send their email right to you, and then boom! Now on to the press release, which is the who, what, when, where, and why behind your YSI project. It is the concise skeleton behind what it is you're trying to achieve. And try not to go over 3 paragraphs, and definitely don't go over 4 paragraphs in your press release. Remember, this journalist that you're reaching out to doesn't have much time on their hands, so you want to grab their attention quick. Number 5, at the very end of your press release, make sure you include the line, for further inquiries, please contact name and phone number. And whoever's phone number that is, make sure they are on duty always to answer. And then number 6, if you happen to have the journalist's phone number, wait about 24 hours after you've sent your press release and then give the journalist a call. This is not only going to mean they have to listen to you, you're not really giving them a choice, providing they answer, but it also is a really, really professional move on your end if you give them a call. And number 7, if you eventually get to the point of pitching to national media, which if so, congratulations, make sure that you remember to include all of the local media outlets that you went to first. For example, you can attach that podcast clip or that newspaper section that you featured in. That's going to make you seem really professional, and like a lot of people have shown a lot of interest in what you're doing prior to this national push. I'll leave the final closing words to the wonderful Zara King.
know the value of the contribution that you make and do not doubt that for 1 second. That's my final thing. I genuinely mean this when I say that I am always so blown away by the work that the teams working on YSI are doing. So know that what you're doing adds value, and know that you could make a massive contribution in any broadcast platform or in a sort of article or media. I think it's have that confidence and make the phone call. Make the phone call.
If this video was of help, it'd be really, really appreciated if you could give it a like, and also perhaps even share it with some friends who might be in need of some of the information that was shared in this video as well. So if you could like and share this video, that would mean the absolute world. Otherwise, have a wonderful year, a wonderful week, a wonderful day, whenever it is you're watching this, and we'll see you very soon. Very best of luck. Thank you for watching.